Uh-oh. Nito's stat of the night. Remember that from Inside the NBA? Nito's stat of the night. to have that introduction and then just put it to what I'm about to show you right here. Right here it says black couples have the highest divorce rates in the US this year at 30%. Second came Latino couples at 18%. God damn. Just a jump in percentage is wild. And white couples at 15%. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So let's also read from the caption. It says black adults have the highest divorce rates and the lowest marriage rates. However, according to research, they also marry at later ages. We've talked about this. 32 for men and 31 for women. So how about that for the advice of you guys need to marry later since you guys know what you're doing, since you guys are adults, since you guys are mature now. You guys, like I said, usually black people set the precedent because they usually get experimented on. They got experimented on the most. So whatever happens in the black community ends up spreading throughout the United States. You know, that whole marrying later, we need to marry later. No, that's definitely not going to work. Wow. Oh my God. So right. So here I'm reading from the thing. It says black women are the only group among other races with a number of divorces higher than the marriage rate. In 2018, there were 31 divorces among the black population and 17.3 marriages per 1,000 people. Black adults also make up the largest share of the never married group. Wow. Notably, 79% of 25 to 29-year-old black women and 18% of 55-year-olds were never married as of 2016. So this is something I brought up on this channel because I don't want to bang on it so much, particularly on this channel in the beginning, because I didn't want to go in on black women like that because we already knew these stats in terms of we already knew that black women were the least married but the most divorced. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. I don't even know how that's even possible for a specific group of women to be the least married by far out of everybody, but like the most divorced by far. How is that even? How does that even work? How is that even possible? But anyway, so this is why when you'll have all, particularly a lot of black women with these relationship advice, but they always have the most to say when it comes to relationships. But yet, when you look at their track record, it's just like, why are we listening to them? You know what I mean? Like, what? Why? Just why? Just when you just look at them, they don't know how to keep. They don't know how to be God. Neither can they keep a man. I don't even know how that's. Like I said, I've said this before, even last year. I think even 2 years ago. I said I don't even know how that's even possible for you to be the least picked, but yet the most divorced. That's crazy. That's wild. But like I said, this is why and I'll also say this. If there's any black women listening to me, right? Stop listening to these black women led podcasts coming from ATL, from Atlanta, and including Los Angeles, but specifically Atlanta. Stop listening to these people. I'm talking about all these entertainers that come from Atlanta or they're based in Atlanta. They got a show based in Atlanta. Do not listen to them when it comes to what you got to do for men or what men really are and what. Atlanta is not a real place. Atlanta, like Paul Mooney had a joke where he said that if God doesn't burn down Hollywood, he owes Sodom and Gomorrah an apology. I feel the same way, but about Atlanta. Atlanta is literally it's literally Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not even close. It's basically Sodom and Gomorrah. You have a population of men. It's so bad where it's like I remember it was a female that went on her podcast, and I did the video 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. I did the video, and a woman came on her podcast and she said, "I believe 85% of men are gay, are in the closet." I'm like, what the? I'm like, do you understand what the 85%? But she lives in Atlanta. It's the podcast is based in Atlanta, so of course she feels that way. But the way she projects it like it's life. That's the problem with these Atlanta-based podcasts. Same thing with the 304. What's her name? Fuck. Amani Talks podcast, based in Atlanta. Cindy Noir, based in Atlanta. All these 304s are from Atlanta. They're making these podcasts, and it's not their perspective on life is not should not be taken seriously. Why? They're coming from if their viewpoint is coming from I'm from Atlanta, but that's not real life. Atlanta is not real life. Atlanta is Looney Tune land. It's not real life. It's literally like, have you guys watched Space Jam? And you know how Michael Jordan gets sucked into the golf hole and then he's just traveling and then he rips into Looney Tune land? That's Atlanta. That's Atlanta. It's not Atlanta is not a representative of most, not even most cities. It's not even a representative of most cities, let alone the country. It's clearly not a representative of what this country, of what America is. Atlanta is just a separate place. It really should be like its own like mini like island or country. You know what I mean? Like that's what Atlanta it really should be separated from. The same, I think, like the whole state of California should be separated from the United States. I think Atlanta should be like a sovereign type spot because it's not America. It's not a representative of America. But like the names that I name you, Cindy Noir, Amani Talks, but particularly a Cindy Noir, right? And she's giving out advice where she's like she's like super popular. She's super popular, but her viewpoint of what men are is Atlanta. Look at her page. Right? This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay. This is not real life. Because I saw her have all these videos about what men are and women are. First of all, she's overweight as hell. No disrespect, but goddamn. Anyway, I didn't even realize she was that overweight. And she's talking about she got problems with men. I mean, look at you. Anyways, when I see her profile, and then the first thing when I finally looked at her page, and then the first thing I see, ATL, I'm like, there you go. I was like, there you go. That need I explain more? Stop listening. Particularly if you are a black woman, stop listening to these black women, female-led podcasts, especially from the ATL area. They don't know what a man is. They don't know what a man is because ATL is just it's different. Most people live in the real world, where people have jobs and they're not scamming, and they have an office job, or they're a janitor or a plumbing or an office assistant, right? Like normal jobs. Atlanta is Atlanta. But a lot of people are getting their advice from these people, particularly a Cindy Noir or Amani Talks. Amani Talks based in Atlanta. So this is where a lot of our issues stem, because a lot of black women are getting advice from other black women, right? Or basically women are getting advice from, I'm saying of all races of women are getting advice from a particular demographic of women that are not even being that are not even being picked, let alone kept. So this is why a lot of the problems are where what we have. And even then, like I say, black women, they hate black love. And my proof of that is Simone Biles. Anytime I see a Simone Biles post, do you know what black women put in the comments? They'd be talking about, I don't know who her husband is. Like as a joke, all of the comments disrespecting Jonathan Owens. And I'm like, so you guys don't even respect black love. But then you get mad if a black man decides to date outside his race. You guys turn into Dr. Umar Johnson on the NFL draft day when you see all these ninjas with white girls, and then we're trying to tell you why that is. And then when we try to tell you why that is, then all of a sudden we hate our moms and our sisters, apparently. So, like I said, they can do them. they could do them. I'm done with that particular group of people. Let's look at some of the comments. Oh, here you go. So you're gonna see all the wrong answers right here. They said black married couples who are happy still exist. Well, if you see a black married couple and you see all their kids and basically they have no kids out of wedlock, meaning all of their kids is between them. I remember Corey Holcomb said something like this. He said, if you see a situation like that, low-key, you're supposed to stalk them and see how they got that to work, because it's almost impossible for that to work in America. So somebody said, okay, here you have. You see, this is the problem here. So you got this black woman here. She's saying number one, cheating culture, and then number two, refusing to go to counseling. First of all, you're wrong with number one, and number two, you're wrong with number two. First of all, when it comes to cheating, black women do not have the leverage, meaning it's particularly what women are looking for nowadays. Women don't really have a say in terms of, you can't say, oh, this man can only just be with me. I think those days are over. And like I said, that's not men's fault. That's what women created. You created a premium on a certain type of man. So if it's only a certain type of man, but that certain type of man only gets to be with you, no. And now number two, in terms of counseling, no. Counseling is not the answer. First of all, when you're looking at the that particular department, the psychological department, the psych therapists, the psychology, all of that stuff is where is mainly women in that field. No, that's a trap. That's a trap. Somebody said because everyone is getting counseling from social media. Oh yeah, and the life coaches and the female led podcast, the ATL led female podcast. That's part of the problem. But like somebody saying, we talking about godless marriages, yeah, blah blah blah. Like I said, every time Simone Biles has a post, it's black woman in there disrespecting her husband. So I don't want to hear shit about black love. You guys don't care about black love. you guys don't care unless if the black man is literally he unless if he's literally bowing down and kissing her, kissing the black woman at her feet. that's that to them. It's unless the black man is in a completely subservient position. That's black love to black women. I mean, remember when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage and damn near ruined his career? And you had these dumb broads, unmarried broads, talking about that's black love. I'm just like, I was like, you see this? I'm just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Right here, somebody said, better stop taking relationship advice from single women and women who can't keep a man. And those are usually the women that end up sabotaging relationships, because single women, I don't care what they tell you, they hate their position, meaning they hate that they've never been chose. They hate that they've never been held up in the air by a man, and not necessarily just by enemy, a man that they actually admire and respect. So the man that they want is not choosing them, and they will always forever hold a grudge against basically the world, because the men that they want is not enough for them to just smash. They want that man to hold her up in the air. And most men that she likes are in a completely leveraged position there, so there's no incentive for them to choose your average ass. There's just no incentive. But now all men have to pay for it, because the top Chads or the top whoever, the Pookies, don't want to hold you up in the air. Now everybody else got to pay for it. And the lowest household income, and we're worried about 50-50 instead of building a stable home as a unit like other folks. That's all. That's a whole other story. We're still on that whole 50-50 stuff, but it's like, I'm like, can we at least make sure that we have a family first? Because if we have a family there, if you got a black man has a decent job, then the woman has a decent job, but she has a flexible enough job so she can still take care of the kid, or vice versa. But I'm not even going to say vice versa, because usually when it is vice versa, the man usually ends up getting disrespected. Look at Jonathan Owens. Another story. So it could start off like that, where the man is taking the rigorous job, and then the woman has a job, but the job is flexible enough so where she can still pick up her kids, right, and still take care of her kids, and where the kid doesn't have to be in a daycare, and then we could start from there. But like I said, and then obviously bills are going to fluctuate, but that's what happens when you're a team. You're not keeping track. You guys are just trying to keep the team together. But unfortunately, you got black men and black women competing against each other. And yes, I will include black men in that, because I'll see black men talk about trying to make black women mad on Twitter by saying this white woman is cute, whatever. Or they'll say, they'll put Caitlin Clark's picture up there and be like, hear me out. And I'll be like, bruh, stop. just stop. Or you'll see black women doing the same thing, making up fake quotes by billionaires. Remember, like a black woman literally made up a fake quote by a white billionaire, saying that white billionaires say that black women are the most sought after because they're therefore grown men or something crazy like that. I'm like, did he really say that? And then like the quote was so fake and so bad that the billionaire had to put a cease and desist on the 304 that had that quote running around Twitter. Like it's too much toxic nonsense between too much childish nonsense going on between black men and black women on Twitter. That is like it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's really the gist of what's happening. Stop listening to these dating podcasts from ATL. Particularly black women. Stop listening to other single women. Stop listening to other single black women, because they're never going to err on the side of caution. Meaning, there's plenty of single men out there, single black men. But when they see their homie in a situation, they just let the homie have their situation. They don't try to interfere with that for the most part. And I'm not talking about ATL. We know ATL's different. Stop talking about ATL. In the normal world, when men see their dudes in a normal situation, they just let them have their normal situation. I tell my friends, don't even watch my channel. If you're in a decent situation, you're in a decent situation. You can watch my channel if you want to. This is not relationship advice. This is mostly low-key MGTOW content. Low-key, but I can't say it out loud. But what happens is single women have a propensity to really sabotage people's relationship. They don't understand they don't understand collateral damage. Collateral damage. If you do something, this could happen. They don't understand the gravity of divorce. They just, when they give their advice, they don't really take these things into account. And then on top of that, we already know single women are not happily single. They're not. Most single women are not happily single. The women that I know that are happily single, they don't do the stuff that you see these single women doing online, talking about you need to compete against me and all this nonsense. And the single women that I know that are actually happily single, they not only do they do good things, they actually set up their friends with decent men. You know what I'm saying when I say that? They actually set up their female friends with decent men. They set up their male friends with decent women. They actually help, but like that's like rare. That's rare. That's like probably 2 girls in probably one city that will actually do something like that. And meaning like they actually want to be the rich auntie with no kids. That's rare. Most of them it's not that. I'm telling you, most of them it's not. They be fronted. Most of them they be fronted. They don't mind being sharing with a man of higher value or higher status, or they don't mind being recreational use, and they don't look at it as, even if they catch feelings, they understand, okay, I know what I'm going into. But that's rare. That's rare. You know what I mean? But yeah, any black couples listening, don't be listening to these ATL podcast people, the Cindy Noirs of the world, the Armani Talks of the world, these people, these 304s on The View, right? These people are terrible. Like, for real.